Season 3 of Sam Presti's Extreme Team Makeover is about to debut. So when someone shouts, "Move that bus," just what will we be looking at? From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, I'm Mike Sherman. This is the Press Row. My guests are columnists Barry Trammell, Jenny Carlson, and John Rohde, and we're talking about expectations for the Thunder in its second NBA season. Let's talk about what's realistic, what isn't. John, is it realistic to expect that the Thunder will not play a meaningless game inside the Ford Center this season?
Well, let's hope if they do, it's in early April when they're out of the playoff race, because they're about 10 games back. I'm telling you, if they're 10 games back, 8 to 10 games back in the playoff race, Barry, I think that'd be a pretty good season.
It would be very good. You know, we were lucky with the Hornets. They played 2 years here, sub 500 teams, but they never played a meaningless game. They were in the playoff race for that 8th spot until the very end of each year. So the Western Conference a little bit tougher now. Looks like 41, 42 wins won't get you in the playoffs. 47, 48 more like it. But I think you're right, John. I think there's a chance that the Thunder could go to April at least, still in their firing.
That would be a huge step forward for this team. I mean, let's not forget that what the Hornets did in that improvement that they made. I mean, you're not going to see that kind of improvement very often. So I think if this team improves 13 games, 14 games over a year ago, that'd make them 36, 37 wins. I think that'd be a great step forward for this team. And it would probably mean that it wouldn't be until April that they would play a game that you're just like, whatever. So that would be a huge step forward for this team.
The big games are before New Year's Day. Cavaliers, I believe, and Celtics and Lakers pay a visit. So
schedule's a lot tougher before New Year's.
Yeah. So they get off to a start like they did last year, because they'll be facing some pretty strong teams.
Jenny, is it realistic that Kevin Durant would be an All-NBA first-teamer?
Ooh, well, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think the guy has definitely changed his game, transformed his game. I think he's continued to step it up. He's always going to be a great scorer. I don't think that's going to change. I think he's going to score in continually different ways and more ways. I think he's going to expand his game offensively. But we saw last season, even in the middle of that coaching change, that when they asked him, "We need you to rebound. We need you to play better defense," he was able to do that. And I think with another year under Scott Brooks and him continuing to focus on those things, I think he's going to be a more well-rounded player. It's obvious the NBA guys love him, too, after camp this summer.
Well, see, the good thing about being a first-teamer, guys, is the players and writers vote on it, not the fans. He'll never be I won't say never, but it'll be tough for him to be a starter in the All-Star game because of market size, although there are ways around it. But the players, his peers, vote on him. And, Barry, he's got big supporters from his peers. Big support from his peers.
I think first-team All-NBA is a long shot because that's 5 spots, and it's hard to go from not even making the All-Star team to that. But I do think this will be his coming-out year. The All-Star game, in my mind, is a given, barring injury. I think he's going to contend for the scoring league, scoring championship in the league, and I think the All-NBA team, first team, is in his future. Probably not this season.
The look of that guy on media day, John and Jenny, you both saw him. Bigger neck, bigger arms. He's been doing some work in the weight room.
But he's never going to be,
No.
We're never going to go, "Oh my gosh, who's that guy? Oh, it's Kevin Durant." I mean, he's never going to be that bulky, upper body. Yeah, I mean, there's guys that he's never going to look like. And I think that's okay because I think he uses that sort of rubberness almost to his body to his advantage, John. Yeah, he's bigger, but he's not. We're never going to see He-Man out there.
No, I don't think so. But, I mean, he's going the Kevin Garnett direction. He's not going to be a Reggie Miller and Tayshaun Prince. He's gotten bigger already.
Okay, Barry. No games going through the motions like those early midweek games against the Clippers or any game they played in Minneapolis last year. Realistic or unrealistic?
Well, I think that's unrealistic because I think that generally happens to most teams. The key is don't let it happen more than once or twice. It happened several times last year. John mentioned the bad start, 3-29. The Thunder had a lot of mental work to do last year after Scott Brooks took over. Sort of restoring the whatever chemistry and optimism was gone from the PJ administration. Then the losing, you sort of got to rebuild from that. It was in many ways a mental disaster. And I think the Thunder can really put all that behind them. I don't think they'll have that this year. I mean, I think they're just going to play and have a record based on their own basketball skill. But they will have a couple of nights the back end of a back-to-back, or if you go to Detroit and then Milwaukee, back-to-back nights in January, and sometimes it just catches up with you.
Well, and that early schedule, too, that you guys mentioned, I think they could have some stumbles in there, and if they find themselves, in the middle of a 2 or 3 or 4 game losing streak, sometimes it's hard mentally to recover from that. I think physically they're a lot more capable and able to not have those sleepwalking games, but that really comes down, like you said, Barry, to that mental aspect. And if they find themselves in a tough stretch, of games when they're just not playing well, I think you could see that. And it does happen pretty much with every NBA team.
Realistic, John. Russell Westbrook takes a step towards becoming the next Tony Parker or the next Dwayne Wade?
Well, Westbrook plays a lot higher than Parker, but I don't think he plays as high as Dwayne. Somewhere in the middle, but closer to Dwayne Wade than Tony Parker. Parker is, just creative and sneaks under people, doesn't jump over them. But as long as he gets better, he is a exciting player. So I would lean more toward Dwayne Wade, but quite a ways to go to catch him, Barry.
Yeah, I think he will take steps to becoming whatever he's going to be. The exciting thing about Russell Westbrook is none of us, including Scott Brooks and Sam Presti, no one really has any clue what kind of player he might be. But he's so good at such a young age that he could become all kinds of different kinds of players. And I think that's why they drafted him, and I think that's why the Thunder's pleased with him.
Look at the guys they're surrounding him with, too. I mean, you've got Scott Brooks as head coach, a former point guard. You've got Mo Cheeks now on this coaching staff. And then you've got Kevin Ollie, a guy that we had a chance to interact with really for the first time at Media Day. He's a smart, savvy veteran. He's been in the league a long time. And so you look at those guys that are going to be around Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's going to have a great opportunity to grow and learn from those guys on a daily basis.
By the way, those two guys I picked, Dwayne Wade and Tony Parker, look at the rookie stats for them. Eerie similar to Russell Westbrook. Last question, realistic or not, season sellout. The Thunder averaged about 18,700 last year. Now the capacity is 18,200. So, realistic or not, Jenny?
I think that's probably a little on the unrealistic side, and I think the reason for that is that they're going to have to come out and win over fans with wins this year. Last year was sort of the excitement of it all, and people got out and supported them even though they only had those 23 wins. Now I think people want to see results, and the results may not be there to the measure that people really want at this point. I mean, they're still going to have great attendance. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But a season sellout, that's asking a lot, I think, right now.
Well, they should draw early with all the big dogs coming into town. But she's right. Winning will dictate that more. I don't know. I know they have 1,000 fewer seats. Did they sell more season tickets? I think I was under the impression they misjudged. They could have sold more season tickets last year, Barry. I was wondering if that was adjusted at all. Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I do know this. They didn't have many crowds, if any, lower than 18,200 last year. So if you'd put last season's sales with this season's capacity, it is a season sellout. So if they get off to a bad start and the season goes in the tank, it'll be tough to sell, some of those end zone tickets in February. But if they're playing pretty good, I think they got a shot at a season sellout. It's you go from 19-1 to 18-2, and you've been averaging 18-7, and you didn't have a crowd under 18. Last year, I think they've got a shot.
Okay, thanks. That's all for the press row this time. But you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoma.